The life of an AHL broadcaster is one filled with long hours at the rink. For Oklahoma City Barons play-by-play voice Jim Byers, the job extends to a lot more than from face-off to the final horn. For each of the Barons' 76 games over the course of a season, Byers is responsible for preparing game notes and maintaining player biography packets with updated stats for each player on the Barons roster.
The game notes are about an 8 to 10 page information packet that I keep updated. It's part of my job. Not all broadcasters do it. Most broadcasters have some other responsibilities. In my case, it's mainly the game information, and that helps me prepare.
But after the game notes are done, Byers' pregame responsibilities don't end.
If there's a media request on the road, let's say, I'll help facilitate that. We do shoot a preview prior to each home game, which goes on the website. And there's also a new blog that I'm doing on the website. It's a pretty involved job.
Byers then begins his own preparations to broadcast the night's game, beginning with his own notes for the broadcast.
And then you prepare your own game notes that are mainly focused on your own team. You're on the air for roughly 2.5 or 3 hours, but there's probably at least double that of fairly intense preparation.
It's then time to head to the rink, and a meticulous setup of the broadcast booth begins.
15 years ago when I was doing games in the Central Hockey League, my equipment was very basic and I didn't have much stuff, but I was still pretty picky about how I wanted things done. It all starts with your power. You got to have your power inaccessible so people don't step on the power strip or you don't cut yourself off the air. Once you get your power set up, then you want your phone line nice and secure so you don't get it yanked out of your machine. You don't want to get knocked off the air. That's the main thing. You don't want to get cords tangled. So it started from that and just being fastidious. I like to have everything set up the same way. I usually have the computer on the left side of me and the gear on the right side of me, but in some arenas I have to flip-flop depending on the setup.
Finally, it's game time.
There's quite a bit of prep that goes into it, but it is still boiled down to its essentials. It is still basically watching and observing a game. You have to peak at that point. All of it is the result of your preparation. The amount of prep you put in does pay dividends in the end, and an unprepared broadcaster is going to miss things and miss the context of things. But ultimately, you can't lose touch with the fact that you're still watching a game and you need to observe that.
After the final horn, the job isn't done. For home games, Byers heads down to the Blue Line Club for a live post-game show. On the road, it's a race to catch the team bus.
You know, if it's a quick game where you don't have a lot of complicated recaps, you can usually get through your post-game, through your responsibilities, get broken down downstairs about 15 minutes after you sign off. That's the goal. There've only been a couple of close calls where we've had to kind of flag the bus down a little bit, but they always wait for me. And you know, it's a situation where once in a while they have to wait for me, but I'm hoping most of the time that I beat them down to the bus. It's a lot more relaxing to go down there and see players milling around outside the bus than to go down there and see the door open and clearly they're waiting just for you.
Then the process begins again for the next game. Carter Baum, Barons TV.